Welcome to Profile Building, the podcast by Advance My Profile. Here we talk about what it really takes to build a strong, defensible immigration profile. The evidence, the strategy, and the mistakes that decide whether a profile gets approved. So imagine handing the keys to your entire international future to an HR intern you've never met.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what millions of highly skilled professionals do every year.
Right.
So today we're taking a deep dive into self-petition immigration, which is this hidden pathway to relocating to places like the US or the UK or Australia entirely without needing an employer sponsor.
It really is a massive blind spot for you as a listener, especially if you're a highly qualified professional. Because, I mean, so many people just assume their international mobility is entirely in the hands of a corporate entity, you know?
Yeah, totally. Because relying on an employer-sponsored visa, it feels a bit like sitting in the airport terminal waiting, like just hoping someone else buys you a plane ticket.
But you're just stuck there.
Yeah, you are entirely dependent on their schedule and their budget.
Right.
But self-petitioning, that's like flying your own plane based on your own merit.
Exactly.
You file for yourself based on who you are. But I have to ask, like, if this is so empowering, why is it such a well-kept secret?
Well, what's fascinating here is the sheer machinery of corporate immigration. Corporate HR departments and external recruiters, they just completely dominate the volume of visas processed globally.
Oh, sure. Like H-1Bs and stuff.
Exactly. Think about the H-1Bs in the U.S. or corporate transfers worldwide. Companies have dedicated legal budgets and infrastructure to process those.
Right.
And because self-petition pathways don't require that corporate infrastructure, they stay entirely off the radar for mid-career specialists who are perfectly qualified but just aren't plugged into that legal matrix.
They don't fit the cookie-cutter mold.
Right. The companies want predictability, so they use the standard visas.
So it's a structural blind spot. We're
Yeah.
talking about specific legal pathways like the US EB-1A and EB-2 NIW, or the UK Global Talent Visa, or Australia's subclass 858.
Yeah, those exactly.
They exist, they are on the books, but they're hidden behind this wall of corporate dominance.
Hidden behind corporate dominance and also hidden behind a massive wall of self-disqualification.
Wait, self-disqualification?
Yeah, the main reason people ignore this pathway is they just misunderstand the legal standard. Like, they hear a term like extraordinary ability for the EB-1A, and they immediately think, well, I don't have a Nobel Prize. I'm not changing the world.
Right, I'm not Albert Einstein.
Exactly. But you don't need a Nobel Prize. EB-1A is recognition-driven, meaning you have sustained acclaim among your peers. And EB-2 NIW is impact-driven, meaning your work has a broader relevance to a key sector, like healthcare or tech.
So it's more about the footprint you leave behind.
Yes, exactly. The footprint.
Okay, well, here's what gets really interesting. Because if I'm listening to you right now, I'm pushing back.
Okay, push back.
If I'm not a scientist publishing academic papers in journals all day, how can a government officer possibly measure my impact? I mean, they don't know my specific industry.
See, that is the exact hurdle most people trip over.
Really?
Yeah, they assume adjudicators only want traditional academic publications. In reality, applied contributions often carry much more weight outside of academia.
Interesting.
But here is how they actually measure it. It's not enough to just say, hold a patent, for example. You have to explain how that patent changed things.
Oh, like the real-world application.
Right. Are competitors licensing it? Did it shift an industry standard?
So it's about proving the objective ripple effect of your work.
Precisely. Let's look at a specific case study from our sources. There was a mid-career cybersecurity expert. They didn't have a Nobel Prize or academic journals, but they developed a proprietary security protocol that 3 major banks adopted.
Wow, okay.
That is measurable market influence. The adjudicators are looking for things like that, or major industry reports you've authored, or media features discussing your specific innovations.
What about founders, like business owners?
For entrepreneurs, financial success alone isn't enough. But if your business introduced a new technology that forced the entire sector to adapt, that is how impact is measured.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because having that ripple effect and actually proving it to a skeptical government official, those are 2 very different things.
Very different, yeah.
A standard resume just says you built a house. But an immigration profile, that's like the city inspector signing off on the foundation, the zoning permits, the independent architectural awards.
Right, the actual structural integrity.
Exactly. It's the objective proof that the house is up to code.
That is a brilliant way to visualize it. An immigration profile isn't just your CV reformatted. A USCIS officer can't see your reputation in a boardroom.
Right, they aren't there in the room with you.
Exactly. They only see the paper trail. So
Mhm.
building that paper trail is a mechanism of gathering evidence. We're
Yeah.
talking independent expert recommendation letters from people who haven't worked with you but know your work, documented market shifts, citation audits.
And I imagine building that level of bulletproof documentation is not something you just, knock out over a weekend with a cup of coffee.
No, not at all. It typically takes a highly strategic process of like 6 to 18 months.
Oh, okay.
And that's exactly why platforms like Advance My Profile exist in this space. They handle this end to end. They objectively assess the raw talent, and then they do the heavy lifting of translating your real-world work into a format that actually meets those specific legal criteria.
So they aren't inventing merit.
No.
They're
Yeah.
just acting as the translator between your professional reality and the government's legal checklist.
Exactly, because you can be the most talented person in your field, but if your evidence isn't documented to their specific evidentiary standards, the petition simply won't get approved.
So what does this all mean? We started by talking about waiting for someone else to buy your plane ticket versus flying your own plane. The pathways are there, the planes are fueled up, but it leaves me with a different thought for you to chew on. If your talent is truly borderless, why is your career trajectory still tied to one company's zip code?
That's a great question.
Think about how global innovation might shift if highly skilled professionals stopped waiting for corporate permission to cross borders.
It completely redefines the global talent pool when you realize the power is actually in your hands.
It really does. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. If you found this conversation valuable, please like, subscribe, and follow the podcast for more useful content. We'll see you next time.